Hey guys, this is Pete Ramsey. I'm from HVAC Greatness, and I want to introduce my friend Kelly McKay. He's the HVAC millionaire. Kelly, what's going on, my brother?
What's up, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, man. Is it not crazy? Here we go. Another new year. Did you make your resolutions? I said
I
plural,
made a few,
not
yeah.
one. Okay.
I
Let's
made
talk
a few, yeah.
let's talk about that. Come on. What can you share? I mean, maybe you don't want to share that one secret resolution, but maybe you've got
Well,
something.
first, let me just share because I looked this up because I was just curious.
Okay.
And it says the failure rate for New Year's resolutions is said to be an estimated 80%, with most people losing their resolve and motivation just weeks later in mid-February, according to US News and World Report. But here's a kicker too. So that's 80% failure rate
Yeah.
before we get past February.
Right.
But it says another article said that 23% of people quit their resolutions by the end of the first week.
Ouch. I,
Ouch,
I'm
right?
joking and pointing at myself because I think we've all been guilty of that. But
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think that's human nature. But I think it's a really good listen. That's a really good topic for us to begin with because you've preached this. What's the word? Ad nauseum. You've preached this to the extent that I can almost repeat back stuff that you said word for word. I'm a firm
Yeah.
believer in it, and that is that my mindset and or whatever how you want to articulate that is everything in terms of success. And in a business, when you transition from an employee mindset to an entrepreneurial or self-employed or independent mindset, whatever level you happen to walk into or enter into, it it really is so key to your success. How many people does Kelly McKay coach? I know Pete Ramsey is crazy, the numbers that while you're talking to them, they're not going to do it. They're not going to make it because they don't have the mindset. I'm going to try to help them, but the odds are really stacked against them.
I've talked to more than I'd care to share or disclose. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot. There's a lot of people who just they can't get past their own stuff
We get in our own
up
way.
here, get in their own way. And a lot of people, even people who have actually like joined HVAC Millionaire Coaching, there's a few who a lot of times we think just because we paid money for something, we bought the course, we
Yep.
went to the seminar, we bought
Problem
the book,
solved.
we
Yeah.
problem solved, like I
Yep.
did my part. And
Yep.
it doesn't stop there. Right? That's only the beginning. Um, but I think you hit on a good point too before we started recording. And I'll give you, because you asked me, I'll give you one of mine is I read 50 books by or more by December 31st, 2024 at 5 p.m. So, and I'm going to record those books. So I don't know how many books I read last year. I read a lot. I've been reading a lot more the last couple of years since I have a lot more free time, but I have not recorded written down like how when I do finish a book. So I couldn't tell you how many I've read, but I think 50 is going to make it's going to be it's pushing myself, to make sure to do it. So, um what was I going to say after that? What were we
Well,
talking
the
about? So,
reading other people's
oh,
insights are very helpful, but there's a book that you currently own that you're writing. And
yeah.
no, not that one, not that one. There's a book that you currently own and you're writing. It's probably your most valuable book, and I would love to take a peek at that. And you shared that with me before the recording, and that is your weekly planner. It was a gift from your wife. Kudos to
Yep.
her. And you flipped it up and you showed it, and all this stuff is filled in. Oh my God, that's not taking other people's ideas and just letting them float around. You're internalizing everything. You're writing down. Here's what I did today. Here's what my goals are. Here's my progress. Here's what I'm going to do next month. And you're journaling. You're detailing your journey. You're
Yeah. And I'll show you since we're on camera here. Like, I've been doing some work.
hey
It's
man,
not all
awesome.
complete, but hey, I'm doing the work here because this
Okay.
is the work that nobody talks about, right? So, um, but yeah, I think what I was going to get into earlier is that, you know, 50 books, I know I can do it. I'm
Okay.
capable. It's not like 500% more than I read last year. Where a lot of times I think that's what we do when we look at our income or we look at the total revenue that our business is going to do. And we just 500 times that, we just throw it out there. And we think because we throw it out there that, and we get motivated and excited about it, that it's actually going to help that come to fruition. But at the same time, we're not willing to sit down and plan for it. And you touched on that. Like,
Fail to plan,
yeah,
plan to fail.
plan to fail.
Yeah. But I love that you're doing that. In fact, I I got inspired and went on Amazon, ordered me my preferred version of that. But
Yeah.
fundamentally, um, for those of you who are listening and you're tempted to say, "Oh my gosh, a journal! Come on, guys, let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the secrets and the insights. You know, how do I make my business? How do I get my success?" Um, Surprisingly enough, guys, if you didn't catch that, it was probably the biggest nugget of what we've done so far. It is actually the mindset that it takes, that when you set a resolution, you set something into place, you decide what you're going to do in terms of a goal, in terms of this year, what I'm going to do for my business. And by the way, the best investment for your business is an investment in yourself, your own personal development, because that extends into the company and everything around you. If you don't have the resolve to get out of that first week or this first couple of weeks, if you're part of that 80%, you don't need to be in business for yourself yet. I'm not saying you're done for. You're not ready. You know, if you can't keep your van clean, if you can't keep your room clean, if you can't get up and make your bed, I shouldn't be in business. But if you don't have the discipline to do things and hold yourself accountable, the change that going from, being a non-business owner or wherever you're coming from, doesn't matter, into a business owner, especially heating and air. This is there's a lot to this, and as Kelley can attest to, if you don't have the discipline in order to hold yourself accountable and do these things on a consistent basis, you won't have the success, not long term. You'll have glimmers
No,
here and there.
no. Yeah. If you want to only schedule your calls in the afternoon so you can stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning to play PlayStation or whatever it is you do, then you're going to struggle. Being your own boss. See, I've got this diagram that I've come up with, and I'll just show you like with my fingers here. Well, everybody thinks of like like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's like it's a pyramid, or like the food pyramid, of
Yeah.
our nutritious foods that we're supposed to eat every day, right? So you have this triangle. Well, everybody thinks I'm going to say this, every employee mindset believes
Right.
that, including business owners who still have an employee mindset, they think that, oh, I'm the boss, I'm at the top of the pyramid now. And the employees that are below you on the quote unquote pyramid, you've got your managers, quite possibly, if you make it that far and you actually have some managers, then you have employees, and then you have customers. And there you are, you're king of the mountain sitting on top of this pyramid, right? Leadership, when you look at it, when you stop with the employee mentality, leadership flips that on its head. So now you're at the bottom of the pyramid, and the managers are above you, and then the employees are above you, and then the customers are above you. So now you have you're actually you're the one holding the pyramid up. You're not on top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
You're holding the pyramid up. Think about that.
I
That doesn't
saw,
happen until you become a leader.
no,
If you're still stuck in the employee mindset, you're the king of the mountain, king of the mountain.
I saw that.
Like we're at king of the mountain,
I
king of the
saw that
mountain.
applied to spirituality. So if you had a pyramid, the
Yeah,
capstone was the cornerstone, and that was Jesus Christ. And this was the
yeah,
church. And he flipped it up and he became the support for everybody else. That was the way I
okay,
first heard that. I thought that was interesting that you,
yeah,
because it's a universal truth regardless.
it is.
And you have to be the rock. You have to be the stability in the organization for sure. Um,
Now, when you know, that's you as a CEO. Now, once you can replace yourself as a CEO, now somebody else is holding up that pyramid. You're still involved, and you're going to still make some of the, you know, the core decisions that the
yeah,
company will have to make through the years. But the only way that you get out from under being, the person who everybody is relying
depending on,
on
yep, yep, yep.
is by replacing yourself as the CEO.
I got a
And
few
most
thoughts
people
on that
do
as
not
well.
make it to that. So,
So you also follow Andy Frisella,
Rosella. Hmm.
Frisella. Guys, look that up. He has an app that you can put on your phone called 75 Hard
Hard.
because it's not easy. And I would challenge you dreamers out there that if you think you got what it takes to go into business here for yourself, take a 75-day challenge, download that app, watch his videos before so you understand what you're taking on, and literally hold yourself accountable that if you miss a single thing on a single day, you go back to day zero. And until you can do 75 perfect days without giving in to your lazy, what he calls it your bitch voice.
Mental masturbation, whatever.
No, your weak voice, right? You got your macho voice when you're feeling good, then you got the weak. Oh, we can't
Yeah.
do that today, or let's take a day off. You worked really hard this week. All he calls that your bitch voice. Kind of strong word,
Yeah.
depending on where you come from. I'm ex-army, so I'm way too familiar to that.
If
I don't
you've
like it
watched any of
anymore.
Andy Frisella, he
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
pick
yeah. He's F
his
bombs
words.
everywhere.
So,
But the
yeah.
point, it's not really. It's that it's the spirit behind that. This is a guy who has come in and he doesn't come home and veg out and play games at the end of the day. He's raised his game and he holds himself to another standard. And then you know what he did? He raised it again. And then he's probably raised it again and again and again. But this guy lives a hard life, but he is a multi-millionaire, successful in many areas. And it's not about the money to him, although I'm sure that has a heavily influenced, but his quality
Sure.
of life, his health, and all the benefits that comes from that. Uh, I say that if you can't do certain things on a consistent basis, let's say you join the gym and get your fitness back, follow an eating regimen, you can call it a diet, whatever you want, and hold yourself accountable. If you can't do that, you probably don't have the fortitude and the self discipline, the mindset to do these other things unless you've got an external motivator that is on your backside, which is nice. Sometimes that external thing is you got no job, you got no other choice but to make it work. And I don't know if you've been there, Kelley. That's what happened to me. That's how I started my business. And that is exactly how I succeeded. If I'd have just waited until I was ready, until things were, I'm going to wait when this gets done. Dude, I was out there giving business cards to anybody and everybody. I remember you talking about this, Kelley.
Oh
Look,
yeah.
I appreciate any business you can get. I'm just getting started. I'm really working on. I forget how you worded it. It was very humble, man. It was very inspiring. And you're just giving your cards out and saying, just give me
Yeah.
a chance. I'm out here trying to do a good job or something to that effect. But
Yeah.
you get that fire into your backside like that, or that pressure that if you don't make it today, you don't have anything left to show for it at night. You got a family waiting on you. That'll definitely get you going. So where does your drive come from? Or do you have any? But
I think
consistent.
everybody has a drive. internal drive. Everybody,
At times.
even lazy people, even what we would look at and say, oh, you're lazy. Even lazy, quote unquote, what society deems as lazy, have a drive. It's just they haven't found that thing that gets them excited, or maybe they have, but they haven't taken it seriously enough. I don't know, but I do believe everybody has an internal drive, something that they can get excited about, and
Yeah. What is it?
sometimes we have to. Sometimes it takes a while for people to figure it out, like
Yeah,
what it is.
what does it take for you to get out there and do it, even when you don't, on those days that you don't feel like it? Because you're not going to feel like it all the time.
I've always had it in me. I don't know what it is, but like so I don't know because I'm just internally driven. I can't describe it. I don't know where it comes from. It's just how I'm built.
Yeah.
I want to create something or fix something.
Yeah.
That's what brings me fulfillment. So that's what I want to do. And so I have an internal drive to go do that, to make sure that that happens.
Most people require
Um,
external, and they say, well, they can't do it, but that boss somehow gets them to do it. That job somehow gets them to do it. I mean, it's a job, just above broke, and as they say, I know you do just enough not to get fired sometimes, but you're going to do when the boss steps up, you're going to do it. I mean, you're going to do it, right? Because the pressure's there, it's external. But if you can internalize that, or maybe check this out, this is revolutionary, Kelley. What if you were going to start a business and you were kind of concerned about, can I be accountable to myself? So you didn't have an external resource and you didn't have somebody to push you, and you didn't have somebody to inspire you and direct you and everything. What if you hired a coach? What if you hired somebody to hold you accountable and just rake you through the coals, uh, and you pay them money to do this,
yeah.
to keep you going? There are millions of dollars right now spent on personal coaches in physical fitness, in health and diet, in personal growth, and all these different spiritual. And I would imagine, I don't know if you know of anybody, Kelly, there's probably some coaches around that could help you out with your HVAC business. Do you know
I
anybody?
guarantee there is. I
I'm
have
sorry,
some
guys. You knew that was
I
coming.
have some statistics on this, actually,
Okay.
because I one time had them memorized, but it's been a long time since oops, this is wrong.
So now we get to peek into Kelly's life.
So it's 39%. Okay, just by writing your goals down. So you may have made some resolutions. You may have decided I'm going to do this. You may have declared them, said them out loud, talked with your family or your coworkers or
That
whatever, and
helps.
said, I'm going to do this year. It does
Put, you,
help. It
put
does.
yourself out there helps. Go ahead.
Just by writing your goals, you're 39% more likely to attain them.
Nice.
Just by writing.
Nice.
But here's the crazy thing. Written plus accountability, you're 79% more likely to attain your goals.
Love it.
Almost double.
I believe that. I believe that.
Well, I think we all need somebody to hold us accountable. I mean, because left to our own devices, we all have a little laziness in us, no matter how driven you are.
Yeah.
If you
Yes.
don't have something that you're just really, you don't have that burning desire inside for that specific thing. There'll be parts of the job or parts of the activities that you're going to have to do in order to accomplish your goal. There'll be parts of it that you really enjoy.
Sure.
We don't need motivation for that. We'll jump right on that and get that done. It's the stuff we don't like doing. And there's always going to be some stuff you don't like doing. Like even if one of my goals was to, go visit Ireland this year, if that was my goal, let's just say, well, I'm not going to enjoy flying to Ireland. Just not. So that's kind of a harsh or crude
About
example, but
7 hours
you know
a
what I'm saying?
year.
It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's gonna be parts of the journey
They're
towards
not so
getting what you
fun.
want that are not gonna be so much fun. And
Yeah.
but when you want it so bad, and you dream about it and you think about it and you read your goals and you talk about it. I'm not opposed to talking about it. Some people will say don't talk about it. Because it can, like deflate you some. But that's all here. It's all in here. If you want it bad enough, why wouldn't you be talking about it?
Right. I've got one for you. This is in addition, and I want to give credit, a shout out to a partner that I work with, Kelly. I don't think you've met him, and I'd love for you to meet him. His name is Dennis, and he is a coach as well. And he has a company called Profit Acceleration Academy. I think that's his .com. And he's really heavy on the mindset, but he is the co-host on our HVAC Business Owners mastermind groups. We've got two.
Mm-hmm.
And so he sits in and he loves this stuff and he's so good at it. He's a really one of those good guys, guys you just love. He just loves to talk and everything else. And so
Yeah.
he recently was talking about that setting a goal. He didn't talk about planning it. He talked about measuring the capacity to achieve that goal. And that people set goals, but they really don't consider the capacity. And so what would that look like? Okay, so I plan on growing my business by 30%. I'm going to go from 2 million to let's just say 2.5 million. And so we look at that extra $500,000 in revenues and we look at our existing capacity. First of all, do I have the manpower in order to do that? And then if I don't, what would it take in order to get those personnel in there? Do I have the customer base in order to achieve that? And if I don't, do I have a marketing program that I could utilize that would supplement and allow me to achieve that? And on a personal goal, if you're going to run the 75 hard, one of the rules is no alcohol. Have I set myself up to start this program knowing that I got 3 beers left from a 6-pack that's in my refrigerator and it's going to be there tempting me one day? And one day I'm on an empty stomach because I'm done. I go in the refrigerator, get me a glass of water, and there's that beer, or there's that cup.
It's like
Right.
What's that show? Intervention. Like
Intervention.
they're
So
the night before they go into rehab, they're getting high. So,
I mean, that's another side of it. But can I, am I just dreaming that I want to build a $10 million business, or do I have the capacity in place in order to achieve that? And over what period of time? What's that going to look like? If I'm going to do an annual growth, and I got to do 30% per year, gosh, that's a lot. What would that take? So before we finalize our goals, let's visit our capacity and see what could we do if we did do the hustle. How much time do we have? I mean, do we have enough hours in the day, right? Or are we going to have to bring somebody in, hire them, and et cetera and so forth. So the capacity aspect of it, kudos to Dennis. I thought that was just a really good thing. Sometimes we just jump out there. I'm going to build a $10 million business, and darn good and well, you still can't get your first employee, right? And so
right.
Some things have to come.
Or, that's one of the things that, I never share this, but I'll share here, is that it really frustrates me when I talk to people who own a business and they tell me they're one person. I'm ready to get out of the truck. I want to get out of the truck. I don't want to be running calls anymore.
That's a big motivator.
I want to manage.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a big motivator, but you gotta figure out how to be a manager. Then you got to figure out how to be a leader to do that. You can't just why would anybody want to work with you? Why? And if you don't have enough calls right now to keep yourself busy, what makes you think you're going to have enough calls to keep somebody else busy? Where's the money going to come from to pay you if you got to pay them? And if they're really good, why would they come work for you and then go work for some fancy company and get a brand new van and a nice clean uniform and a 401k and insurance and all these other things, a tool account, like things that you're not providing. It is a pet peeve of mine. I just bite my tongue every time I hear somebody say that, but I've heard it probably 20 times at this point. 20 different people, one person, I'm ready to get out of the truck. Okay. So that's a great goal.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to make that happen? Well, I just need more calls. What kind of marketing should I use? Forget it, dude. Forget it. Like, you're not
Yeah.
going to make it. If
And
this is your attitude, you're not going to make it. Like,
it doesn't matter who you are in the world. Um, there's no such thing as an ugly baby if you're the parent. There's some ugly babies out there,
yeah.
but don't you dare call somebody's baby ugly. So
Right.
let me tell you what your ugly baby
Well, I'm not
is.
afraid to, I'm not afraid to tell people that they suck when they run service calls, and they
Let me,
can like it or lump it. I it's not their fault. It's just what we were all taught. So I do put a frame around it before I give it to them that they're
yeah,
they're doing crappy service calls and not taking care of their customers,
but
but it's reality.
it,
So
it is, it is. But as it applies to a business owner in your business, I'm here to tell you that you probably have an ugly baby. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you, but you think that your business is all that. You think that your customers love you. You think that they just really love the quality of your work. But I'm here to tell you they don't know the quality of your work. And that relationship that you have is not as deep as you think it is. There's reasons for that. And so when they look at your company from the outside and there is no emotional connection, I mean, I may agree with you. I love your baby too. You got a beautiful company, you do great work, everything else, because I may be your friend. But if I wasn't your friend and I was just somebody who was considering doing business with you, I would probably look at your baby, your company through critical eyes. And so if you have the strength to withdraw yourself from, being personally, with skin in the game, this is my baby. Don't you talk about my baby. But look at your business with a critical eye, and you really take it seriously, and you up it so that you know that the most critical and the best customers out there would look at that with a critical eye and it would pass the test because your branding, I saw your rebranding, Kelly, when you redid that. It was freaking awesome. You look like a high-end company come pulling in their driveway. Your technicians are dressed in that way. They're trained in a certain way. You see, if you're going to attract these higher end customers, you can't have an ugly baby. And here's the key thing: talking about those employees. Why in the world would they come to work for you? I'm sorry, but you got an ugly baby. Would you, if you didn't know any better, work for yourself? Or would you look for that Kelley McKay was HQ Services level of just colors and topography to this pops and this professional organization? You may go work as an employee. You may go to work for somebody like that. Would you work for ugly baby company down the street? Pete's Heat and Air, or would you look for something better? Because so the very thing that makes you successful with customers makes you successful with employees, and it's getting tough to get both these days. Up your game.
well, just walking into your shop, walking into the back of your shop, if you have a shop, or you use your garage or whatever you use to,
Sure,
maybe keep a little bit of inventory, is it just thrown everywhere? Or is
that's
it in
huge,
nice, neat, organized bins? Like our shop was probably one of the most organized in all of the Wichita and surrounding areas.
right?
There may have been a couple of companies that have it that are a little more organized than us, but the companies my size, put it this way, the companies my size, like we were crushing it. We were organized. Of course we have our own struggles with communication and stuff, but we still are pretty darn good at communicating,
Sure.
within the internally. Um, I don't know. So we did a lot of
No,
things right.
it's from the inside
And
out. I've met people like that, Kelly, that you meet
Yeah.
them. They don't have fancy clothes, but what they have is clean and it's pressed and it hangs well. They don't have expensive vehicles, but the vehicles have been washed. The tires have been cleaned. There's not crap in the floorboard. The way that they carry themselves forward, regardless of there's no flash to it. There's substance to it, right? And so
Yeah.
it's an internal thing that's hard to describe. Do you know? I got one for you, Kelly. This was another thing that came up in one of our mastermind groups. When this one gentleman is interviewing his new employees, his service manager will go out to the employee, the applicant's vehicle, and look down into the window, look see if the floorboard's full of garbage and everything else, because he knows.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Yeah, yeah, that
I've heard of this with rental property too. If you own rental property and you have somebody come to look at a rental property of yours, like
that's a good one.
look at their car, if they got, half-eaten burritos strewn all over the floor and and it hasn't been cleaned, then they're probably going to treat your house that way too. So,
Yeah, I thought it was a really good one, and
yeah.
I did not realize the real estate part. That's a very good point. So
Mhm.
anyway, there's a lot to this, but mindset is fundamentally what we're talking about. We're talking about these. We're going in the new year. In the new year, we all want to improve and do better, but the improvement begins with letting go. I shouldn't say letting go. Embracing your inner self discipline and holding yourself accountable, and then just improving, just moving that in the right direction. And did you know, by the way, Kelly, that if you hold yourself accountable and you say, today, I'm gonna limit myself to 2 cups of coffee because I'm trying to cut back. And if
Mhm.
today you succeed, you write, let's say you write that on your list. And at the end of the day, you check, I did it. Even though that's a small victory, every time you check something off that box, your self esteem goes up. Your trust in yourself goes up. But every time you fail, your trust and your self esteem go down. And if it goes down enough, you don't even trust yourself. I can't do this, you say to yourself.
Yeah, you lose respect with yourself,
Yes.
literally. And if you've shared it with other people, you lose respect with other people as
Oh, even
well.
worse yet. Yeah.
You also, it can also make you this confused feeling, or you're tired and fatigued all the time. You
Yeah.
have no clarity. All of that is because you can't trust yourself. You say one thing and you won't do it. So the reason that you maybe struggle with having clarity about where you're going and what you want to do, or just setting some goals, is
Yeah.
because of this. Like you just have no discipline to make sure to get it done. So, but I was going to talk about that real quickly about what you just said, because
Sure.
I think, and I've experienced this myself. I've gotten excited. I've set the New Year's resolutions very high. And I love that about myself, because I'm a dreamer, and I love other people who are dreamers, who set lofty goals. You've heard the old saying. I just wrote about this, because I'm doing a newsletter now. Link will be in the description if you want to join. but
Sign me up.
it's aim for the moon, and if you miss the moon, you'll
Yeah,
land among
yeah.
the stars.
I've
Right?
seen that. Yeah,
So I love that. I love people who are dreamers and still have that, who still have not let the world beat them down so bad that they feel like it's not possible. So I love people who still dream, who get excited about where they're going. But the problem is we have these 80%, and we've all been part of that 80% before, that failed by mid-February or sooner.
sure.
We've all done it, at least on one of our goals. We've all done it. I don't care how high achieving you are, you
And
failed.
and of those 80%, the 90% didn't know they were on the list, but go ahead.
Right. So what I propose is to set a minimum target. Maybe set 3 goals around all your outcome goals. So if you say a goal, I'm gonna go from 2 million to 3 million this year. Great. That's awesome. Um, what would be a minimum target that you could live with yourself if you didn't hit 3 million? Now, this is not like a scapegoat. This is not for you to give up on your dreams and not go for 3 million. This is simply a momentum goal. Where would I have
Love
to
it.
be?
I love that.
Where would I have to be? What's the minimum target? Like that I will not settle for any less when it comes to growth. Is it 300,000, 500,000, 700, whatever it is you want? But no matter what that minimum goal, you hold yourself accountable. You commit to that goal with every bit of what you have inside,
Yeah.
right? The goal would be to get to that goal as quickly as you can, or be on pace, I should say. Be on pace, because that's a goal you wouldn't hit till later in the year, right? Because we're just adding up our revenues through the year. So break that down. What would you have to do first quarter? What would you have to do second quarter? So at the end of the first quarter, if you're not on pace to do it, shame on you. Like you said you were going to do this, you're going to have to hold yourself accountable and make things happen, whatever it takes. And then have a main target. So let's say your main target is 2.7 million. That's your main target. And then your crush it goal would be 3 million. And of course, wherever you land is it's going to be a marker to tell you I did not shoot high enough or I shot way too high. And you can use that for next year, or just based off of your previous data from the growth that you've seen in your business already, you can base it off of that for that growth. But consider like splitting it into like 3 goals. Like I said, it doesn't give you permission to not go for it. Like you're going for your crush it goal, whatever that is. Or
Yeah.
maybe your crush it goal in that instance is 3.5 million, and your main target goal is 3 million. What's your minimum target? 2.8 maybe, that you're going to hit. You're going to do whatever it takes to make sure it happens. And you're going to measure along the way to make sure that you're on course to hit that goal. Because if you're off course, you can recorrect before we get to the end of the year to make the adjustments necessary to hit that goal. So just think about it that way, because one more thing, Pete, what I feel happens is we set a goal and I feel like we're worse off than if we wouldn't have set a goal at all and had no ambition and drive, because we said we were going to do something and we fail. And a lot of times this is part of being resilient, part of weathering storms, part of like, there's going to be obstacles and challenges and along the way, they're going to try to stop you from getting your goal. And depending on your mindset and how much you really want it, that burning desire, and how much strength that you have, internal strength to do what you need to do again and again, even though you get punched in the face every day when you go to work, in order to do that, then I think that breaking your goals down and just getting a little bit closer, it's kind of like when you onboard somebody new, you want to get those people some quick wins. So how could you give yourself some quick wins so that you could get the big momentum? That's what Darren Hardy calls it, the big mo. Because
Yeah.
momentum is huge. Like just,
Sure. Yeah, there's several factors that come into play. I think the point is, you don't go online, buy a course that you're gonna, how to succeed in heating and air, and then just sit back and it all happens for you. And on some subconscious level, when I was a little boy, real quick story, I was a big fan of my grandpa, and my grandfather was self-employed. He was a commercial artist, and he would hand draw signage. And he was training me to be a commercial artist, from way back. And I got pretty good. And he was preparing me for the family business. And my son ran all the print side of it. So Grandpa would create, my dad would turn it into actual copy. because back then it wasn't digital, right? And but I remember the freedom that he had as a business owner, and he wasn't overly externally ambitious. He wasn't like greedy or anything like that. He loved to help other
Mhm.
people. He was the rock in the family. If somebody needed help, he was there. And I always admired that. But I always remember thinking, man, I would like to have my own business one day, not because I wanted to be a millionaire, but because I wanted to free myself from just being an employee and to be a business owner. But somehow in my mind, I would go to the mail and pull out the envelopes and open up the checks. Right, the money would just come in because I own a business, and here comes the checks, right? Or maybe you open up your account, your email, and there's another deposit, there's another purchase, and that self delusion based on ignorance of how the real world works was a setback because it don't work like that. You open up your business and you hear crickets and the bills continue to pile up and nothing happens until you make it happen.
Make it happen. Yeah.
And so if that external drive isn't, or that internal drive isn't there, you have to create it. And external, like we mentioned, is very powerful, and there's certain variables. But I remember listening to there was a gentleman, and he had set these goals for his business. And he said, if I hit this amount, I'm taking X amount of dollars and I am giving to this particular charity. And not only was it just like some charity you write a check to and you never see it, he was involved. He knew the faces of the people that were in need. And so he put
Yeah.
himself in a position. Again, I want see if you can follow me on this. He put himself in a position of external pressure that was so far above his knees. If you're one of those people that you go out there and work until you got enough money to pay the bills, and then you go back home and just chill and you don't push anymore because you don't have that influence. What he did is he raised that goal that if he was X profitable, then he would do something for somebody else. But until he got X profitable, he couldn't because that was the deal. And so he set
Yeah.
himself up in a position because he knew that internally he wasn't overly ambitious. He really just wanted to make a good living. But he also knew that just like my grandpa, if he had that extra money, he was there to help people. And you can't help people if you don't help yourself. You can't take care of people if you don't take care of yourself.
And and some people do good with setting like I don't know, I can't remember what we called them. I want to say consequence goals. Like if I don't hit my
Yeah, yeah,
goal,
yeah,
this is what
yeah.
I'm going to do.
Sure, sure.
And it needs to be something that you really hate doing,
Right.
or it could be even possibly humiliating. Or you have to donate to a cause that you don't believe in,
Yes.
so
Yes.
something
I've seen
like
it.
that.
I love
What
that.
I was going to say earlier was that I feel like if we set this big lofty goal and we take no steps and we start losing that lack of respect with ourselves and the lack of trust and all that stuff, and then we constantly compare ourselves to other people. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, and you see, oh, well, this person's doing it, that person's doing it, looks like they're growing, but
Mhm.
here I am, I'm struggling to grow, I'm not growing. Well, then that's where it's literally your mindset that's going to get you past that, to keep pushing forward even when things aren't, just try something new,
Sure.
try something new, try something new, and try something, just keep getting back up every single time you get knocked down. Try something new until you figure out what works,
Yeah.
until you get the result that you actually want.
And the reason there's so many different strategies out there is because, we're different people, but for most of us, if we follow, some very popular ones, we'll probably fall in those categories okay. But if you're having a hard time with the motivation, it's probably the mindset. If you're having a hard time just getting up out of bed, making it happen, probably the mindset. Um,
Could be a chemical imbalance if you're, you
let's
never
not go
know. It could be. I'm just saying that, like,
there.
you may need it. talk to somebody. You may need medication to get straightened up.
I don't either. So
Just
just,
saying, like,
I'm just saying, Kelly.
it's not completely out of the question, but Atomic Habits by James Clear, that's a really good book, because a lot of times we're adding new habits that we don't currently have. And that's one of our New Year's resolutions. Like, I'm going to stop smoking. I've smoked for years, and I've recently switched to vaping. And that was hard. That was really hard. And
Yeah.
now I need to cut back on this, but I am off the cigarettes. But if that's your New Year's resolution to,
Yeah.
stop smoking or to stop drinking so much or to get in shape,
Yeah.
if you're not currently used to going to the gym regularly or having, um, I guess, making time to work out, I should say, because a lot of times people will say, James talks about this in the book Atomic Habits. So go get that book. I'll put the link in the description. Go get that book and listen to it, because the more obstacles that we have in the way of doing that thing. So, like, if I'm going to go to the gym and I have not been to the gym in 3 years or 2 years, then there's going to be all these competing things that happen and obstacles that are going to try to stop me from getting to the gym. Things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And if it takes a lot of time to get to the gym, I got to drive for 15 minutes to get there. And I got to drive 15 minutes home. Well, that's 30 extra minutes. I don't have time today. I can't go to the gym today. Well, just, it doesn't, maybe you don't go to the gym then. Maybe you just do some sit-ups and some push-ups.
I guess
So
I'm
try
gonna.
to eliminate any constraints that would stop you from doing something. So
Yeah.
that goes back to making agreements with yourself too. You could also say that, okay, well, if I don't go to the gym, this is just like when we hire people and we have to describe like their roles and responsibilities and exactly what we need them to do within our company. We have to speak clearly to them and have it written so that there's not a whole bunch of gray area if they're not actually doing what we hired them to do. So if we don't go to the gym, then write that as a clause in there. The days I can't make it to the gym, I'm going to do, 50 sit-ups and 25 push-ups. Whatever it is, just something. It's something. I always say, like, I've worked out for years, and I always say like something is better than nothing. Some days you're not going to feel like pushing yourself. Like, try the 75 hard. I guarantee by day 6 or 10 or 15 or 30 or 27 or 45 or 60, like, there's going to be
Yeah.
days where you really don't feel like doing it.
And
It's going to
Kelly,
be raining outside or snowing, and you're going to have to go outside, do your outside workout. You're not going to feel like doing it.
um, and guys, if you're listening on my channel, I'm going to put Kelly's link to Atomic Habits on mine as well as 75 Hard. Kelly, if you'll do the same. And if
Yeah.
you are a subscriber to Pete Ramsey's HVAC Greatness, please go over and subscribe to Kelly McKay's HVAC Millionaire and vice versa.
Yeah.
There's we overlap a little bit, but we're focused on complementary services, and that's really cool that we can kind of ride together and share some stuff with you. But this is one of those things that we just overlap and agree with so much. Is it's the importance of the work that's done upstairs in between your ears when nobody else is around, nobody's there to cheer you on. That's where the real momentum. I love that word. That was the title of my ebook, Kelly, and because it's so true. I mean, you're exactly right. You got to get that thing going, and all of the energy, universal truth, starts with taking something from a position of rest and just getting it up and getting it moving. Once it's moving, the energy required subsides. So some of the pressure's
The
off, and you
law
can
of inertia.
inertia.
An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion continues in motion until acted upon by an outside force.
So yeah,
Or it's, I think that's
the one that I
one
love,
of
Kelly,
one
was
of the.
Eben Pagan wrote several programs. He's a brilliant guy, he said that the space shuttle that would blast off, go up, do its orbit thing, and come back consumed 80% of the fuel for the entire trip just in the first 2 minutes, breaking the Earth's orbit.
Yeah.
So you just got to get going, guys. And in the mindset to keep it going, clearly, don't stop because you may not can't, get started again. It's not so easy. Don't stop. Just keep going. But we have come up on the 45-minute mark, and we tend to run long. So I wanted to remind you of that, Kelley, in case there's something that you'd like to throw in here towards the end. And I know you generally have something that that we don't want to leave out because this is really, really important, guys.
So I'll just if there's anything that you listen to on this entire thing of us babbling along here and talking about this, I mean, it's all good stuff.
Right.
And I hope that you take it seriously. And I want you guys, I want to see you guys crush your goals. I want you to get everything you dream about in life and in business. But if we all struggle with mindset. I'm just going to tell it's no matter how awesome you are and how positive thinking you are, we all struggle with mindset at times. And so it's like 70,000 thoughts a day or something like that, and 85% are negative. So how do we break that? How do we get past that? And I can tell you there's only one way, and it feels like you're lying. You're going to tell yourself, create a mantra for yourself, some type of an affirmation. So it could be like, my potential is exponential. My business potential is exponential. I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy. I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy. I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy. Even if you aren't happy, healthy, or wealthy, if you tell yourself that over and over again throughout the day, I would talk to myself while I'm driving to my next service call. I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy. I am happy, healthy, and wealthy. I am so happy and grateful now that an abundance of money comes to me through multiple sources on a continuous basis. Sounds crazy, but I would just repeat these things to myself. My potential is exponential. Every day in every way, I'm getting stronger and stronger. Every
Every
day in
day
every
and
way,
every
I'm
way, I'm
getting
getting
stronger. I
stronger and
mean, it
stronger.
sounds retarded.
It
It
is,
does
but
not.
at the
It
same time,
sounds ridiculous.
there's
And
nothing
your
that
mind's going to say,
there's
yeah,
nothing that tastes better than being thin feels. Nothing tastes better than being thin feels. That was another one, and this is health related.
yeah. Or, mine last year was, I'm feeling sexy and lean at 215.
Lee,
Feeling sexy and lean at 215. So
I
if you
love it.
can make it rhyme,
Lee,
then it's going to
tight
be,
machine.
it's going to be,
That's good.
it
That's
just
good.
rolls off the tongue
Sure.
nicely.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when you tell other people, you saw like Pete light up and he's like, oh, that's a good one. Like,
yeah. Sure,
so
sure.
if you come up with something good like that, do it. Something that rhymes. It's easy to remember. But I would literally just tell myself this stuff, guys, over and over and over and over again. And then you know what? I started being positive more often.
Guess what?
I eventually got more money. Like my business made more money.
So many
Like everything that I talked about started becoming, because I started acting like the person who got those things in life, because I was reprogramming my brain. And that's how you do it. You just reprogram it. Just keep shoving that stuff in there.
and I was
Sorry,
just going to
Pete.
encourage you. No, you're right. I was just
That.
encourage you. If this kind of stuff is alien to you, if you realize that people don't act like that, regular people don't do that kind of stuff. People that I know don't act like that. Exactly. So if you want to stay like
Exactly.
they are, don't do it.
Exactly. Do you want to be one of the
Two
few
percenter.
or one of the many? One of the few or one of the many?
Join the 2% club. Be different. You'll
So,
happen.
yeah.
Woo! You
I,
go, Kelly.
I, I'll take being weird all day long, every day. I don't want to be like the masses. I don't want to be
No,
like them.
no, no, no.
And who would? Why would you want that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just here's another thing that when I talked about comparison is we're being trained like all these YouTubers and different influencers out there who have busted their hump their entire lives to finally get where they wanted to be in life. And they have made so many sacrifices to get there. And there's a few of them out there that are literally telling people like $1 million, that's nothing. You can't live off $1 million. That's ridiculous. You can't live off like they just act like it's nothing. Have you ever had $1 million? Like you
Uh,
don't know it's not nothing. It's a hell of a lot of money. It's a hell of a lot of money. So stop listening to these idiots on there. I heard I heard I watched a very short like recording of uh Ed Milet this morning. I haven't listened to Ed for a long time, but he was talking about money. And if you were like I can't remember the age, but I think it like with just $2 million, which could supplement your income just off the interest that it earned per month and just basic investments. Like you would hardly have to work anymore for the rest of your life if you manage your money.
yeah.
And if you had $1 million, you may not have to work
It,
very hard for the next 20 years of your life. 20 years.
it's weird. Um,
Like all you'd have to do maybe is go make a few $1,000s a month. Think about that. How much is your time worth? Stop listening to these people saying that, oh, you need, 50 million. Now we're talking. No, I can live off 50 million. Dude, just having 1 or 2 million, you're in the top 1 or 2% in the world. I know millionaires are being made every day now, 1,700 of them, I believe, every day. But don't let them fool you. Like, don't dream, don't put your goals so far out there that you have no idea, or that you have no, like, it just kills your desire to even take a step forward it because internally there's no flipping way I can do this in 1 year. Even though I love dreaming big. So just think about that. Like, don't listen to these people saying that this amount of money is nothing, that amount of money is nothing until you've had that amount of money. Um, then you have no idea. So,
yeah.
and yeah, now we're going super late. So, sorry, can't help myself.
Kelley, you can't help it, bro. We love you. Don't worry about it. So, no, I appreciate you. Yeah, you always bring it. And, this is the kind of stuff we need to remind ourselves, guys. If you've stuck around to this level, to this point, most of you have already signed off. But for those of you that stuck it out, send an email to me or Kelley, and we're going to send you a gift. I don't know what it is. Kelley, let's come up with something right now on the fly. Nobody's listening this far anyway. You're that one person.
I've got,
You're the only one that's going to
yeah.
get this. You got something? I'll come up with something.
I got Alex Hormozzi's book. I got several copies. I'm willing to give another one away if somebody
Okay.
wants it.
All right.
$100 million leads. This book
Okay.
right here.
All right.
We could do something else for them. I
Okay.
mean, I'm cool with whatever you want.
Let's come up with
I
something.
got like 6 more
Tell
copies
you
of
what.
those I need to get
I'll
rid
tell you
of.
what. For now, let's just do this. Anybody that
Yeah.
comments on this particular episode on mindset, just say, "Look, I was on the mindset video. I made it to the end. Put me in that group. Let's put a group of guys and let's do a private session just for them, you and I. How about that? A mindset
Sounds
session
good.
specific to HVAC business owners and how to get that next level and bring your technical questions too. Don't worry about it. And we'll do something.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And if we don't get enough for a whole group, we'll still maybe you get your own private setting with just the two of us. So maybe we could do that. Cool.
Yeah, that's cool too.
And just see there, man. Aren't you glad you stuck around? Okay, guys. Great job, Kelley. You want to wrap us up?
I just appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Appreciate you, Pete. Um, we've taken a few weeks off. I know came over to the States, came back home for a
Had to
little
bring
bit.
mama.
So
Yeah, had to get
yep.
mom. So she's here with me now. Good stuff. Good
So
stuff.
we've
Family
been
first.
incognito for a little bit, but we're back
Yeah,
and just happy to be here, happy to
me too.
be healthy. I know you went through a little bout of sickness. I went through a little bout of
I
sickness.
was down. I was down
Thankfully
hard.
it
Yeah,
was
I'm still
thankfully it was still
oh,
relatively short lived and we're
sure.
healthy. So
Yeah, yeah,
still
yeah.
kicking. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the
2024,
next.
baby. Go get them, guys.
Oh.
Take care. Bye bye.